Well, good morning, everybody. How are we all doing? How have we slept? Is everyone okay? Leeds United getting the victory against Come On Wednesday. I really rinsed that last night. But if you haven't checked out the post-match reaction, that is now live on One Leeds. Make sure you check that out. If you want some bonus Leeds stuff today, make sure you're all checking out every single bit of Leeds United content on the channel because it is well worth it. We've also got Patreon. Gabe's got his thoughts over there from last night. We'll have player ratings as well over there very, very soon. And please make sure before we start the video, everybody, you get not only your thoughts in, but you get a like on the video as well. It just means we show a little bit higher on the old algorithm. Get your comments in the section below. Jason's in the building. Morning, Connor. Jack's here as well. Shout out to Steve Dickinson, who has become a YouTube member. Shout out to you, Stevie boy. You can become a YouTube member, everybody. £2 a month, and it just means you get exclusively read out on the channel before everybody else, and you get a nice little emoji next to your name as well. Some bonus bits, which will be coming soon. Sujal says, morning, Connor. Not a brilliant performance in the first half yesterday, but a win is a win. And 3 points in the bag is nothing to sniff at. You bang on there, Sujal. Connor, how about doing the whole show as Daniel Farker? Your impression is near perfect. Well, it was a great performance from the boys. We put pressure now on Ipswich and Southampton and Leicester, who all play today. Considerably good teams. But I do have to say, Leeds United, my team, are probably the best team in the world. So no problems there, no problem whatsoever, and Leeds United will probably win the league. There you go. That's all you're getting, Sujal. Aren't weekends better when Leeds United win? Of course they are, Jace. Of course they are. Listen, it was a really, really solid second half performance, I'd say, with Leeds United. I think, listen, it's not only something that we've learned over however many weeks and the last year, but there has been a robbery in West London. £7 million has gone missing. They have let an asset completely go. I actually cannot believe they've let him go for £7 million. Daylight robbery. The club claims Leeds United purchased Ethan Ampadu for just £7 million, and that is true. Unbelievable. What a performance. Shout out to Andy Hinchcliffe, who is probably back in the changing room sniffing Barry Bannon's shorts. But it doesn't matter because Leeds United have got the victory. But yeah, I wanted to start on Ethan Ampadu. It's another thing that we've learned, that every single week we're learning with this guy. It's another 8 out of 10 performance. Last night, he was the defence in the midfield. Him and Rodon in the defence, of course. And I'm not alienating anyone's performance, of course I'm not. But when Ethan Ampadu's just playing football for Leeds United, he feels like he comprises 7 different roles. He was so good last night. So good, so effective. Thank you, Daniel. No problem, mate. Loving the shirt. Reminds me of Rafa. Yeah, mate, I've not worn this one in a while. It isn't part of my little shirt thing there either, so it was nice cracking it out this morning. Ampadu's the man of the season. Amps excellent yesterday. Sure. Sujal says Ampadu club captain. Enough said. Bubba says thought Ampadu, Kamara and Rodon were massive for the game last night. Yeah, I thought Rodon came into it a little bit. I was getting a little bit frustrated with him at the start, just on the basis that we know what level. Sorry, Kamara, that is. We know what level he can get to, we can dictate midfields by not only being defensively solid, but also getting forward. But I thought the little interchanges yesterday with Somerville, the little interchanges with Rutter in the second half were really good. And he was a big part of that first goal as well, so I was a massive fan of him developing into the game yesterday. Glenn Kamara. And listen, we know the silky smooth operator is a top player. I think we've all just been calling for a little bit more because we know he can produce a little bit more, and even more than that, he's a top player at this level. I've seen a lot of people talking about Firpo as well. Listen, it doesn't matter about Firpo in the Premier League. We don't need to talk about Firpo in the Premier League because people are talking and saying, look, he's nowhere near good enough for the Premier League. We know that. We know in that first half when he gave up 2 opportunities where you thought, Jesus Christ, they're going to score here. You're thinking if that's Mo Salah, if that is, Rashford, whoever it could be in the Premier League, we're in big trouble. But he's okay for now. A lot of this team are okay for now. That said, with absolutely no disrespect, some of them will acclimatise to Premier League if we are to get there. But let's just enjoy, as someone said, the here and now and not worry about the Premier League too much. We'll speak about it, we'll discuss it, we'll debate it, but let's not try to speak on it too much where it sort of infiltrates every sort of thought process. Also, let's hope Chef Wednesday bounce back. Let's hope they do, because the next game is Ipswich. Something on the radar there. It was. I thought it was interesting as well with the substitutes that we had in the game. Obviously, DJ Joseph and Con Roberts. Been on the bench yesterday, which, in a strange sort of sense, I think the game started and we're all a little bit like, oh, okay, those three on the bench, DJ and Roberts, who were probably two of the better players against Stoke City, and Joseph. In my opinion, at the start of the game yesterday, I said he should have started. Archie in the middle as well is something that I would have gone for, but they were wholesale changes and big changes to your starting 11. A starting 11 who'd won, 11 at 10 in 11 games. So I can understand why Farke didn't do that, but to have the luxury of Con Roberts, who's got a goal and an assist in his last 3 games, to have Dan James, who has scored 12 goals this season, and to have Matteo Joseph, who is hungry and chomping at the bit at this moment in time, all available to come off the bench. It's really good. It's really positive, and it's a level of calibre that many other teams don't have in this division. Morning, pal. Just been to the shops. Going to watch from the start. Keeping them clean sheets is just as important as the 3 points to our momentum building. I'd agree with you, mate. And listen, the 3 points are absolutely huge. We know that. But the clean sheets is another clean sheet for Leeds United. I think we're talking 14, 15 clean sheets now, which is ridiculous at this level. I think even with Bielsa, we had a really, really top clean sheet level in the Championship. And I think Farke has gone beyond that already. Which is a great feat, because that season with like Ben White and that season with even Pascal Struijk at the back, Leeds were brilliant, absolutely rock solid at the back. So that's really positive. But yeah, overall, I think the defence have got to take a lot of credit for last night. I think they were really good. It's a great start to the weekend. I've seen a couple of comments discussing how Melee was really good. He made a really good save last night. We do have to speak on that. Made a really, really top save, which kept Leeds in the game within the first 10 minutes. That would have been a very, very different game if Leeds were to go 1-0 down. The crowd on our backs, 10 minutes in, and you're thinking, oh, God, here we go. But Leeds were able to come through it, and Melee made a big save at 0-0. It has to be said. I mean, there was a point in the second half where I thought he was, thank God for Ethan Ampadu being there. Again, how many times have we said that this season? But he fumbled it a little bit and it was cleared off the line. But overall, in that first, and he's another one who sort of added to that list, really, of who we're speaking about in the first part of the show, where, look, not good enough for the Premier League, but right now he's done a job, and let's praise him right now, because that was a really important save at 0-0, a really top save at 0-0. It has to be said. Morning. Thought we bossed the second half and another clean sheet. Let's hope the other team slip up today. Keep up the amazing work. Cheers, Andrew. Really appreciate that, mate. And yeah, you bang on the money in terms of other teams slipping up. We need that today. We need Cardiff to do as a job. We need, obviously, Southampton have got that game in hand now as well. A couple of game in hands now, I believe it is, or it could just be the one. But Leicester have obviously got a big game as well this weekend. And listen, it'd be nice for it to turn a little bit, wouldn't it? But the Cardiff game's massive today. And let's just hope we can see a team, if they give Ipswich a game, let's hope we can see a team actually hold on. That would be lovely. That would be lovely. There's been so many times Birmingham, bloody the game they had last week, Bristol City, multiple other occasions where they'll be bloody 2-0 down or 1-0 down and they'll get back in it. And it's like, oh, God. So let's hope if Cardiff take the lead today, they can be resilient and they can hold out a little bit. That would be lovely. Morning, Connor. How are you, James? Shout out to you, my friend, for joining last night. Been part of the membership clan. You can join everybody, as I always say. I said it before, I said it again, with this team and manager last season, we don't get relegated. Yeah. It was interesting what Neil Redfern said on TalkSport last night. They're playing like a team that's going to get promoted. This was a massive win, given how good Sheffield Wednesday were playing in the first half. And also, this is the 4th match in 10 days. And that is another thing as well, everybody. 4th match in 10 days. But listen, they'd won 4 on the bounce at home as well. They won 4 on the bounce at home. Leeds got the win. And there's nothing really much to say in terms of a sort of like a winning run. You've established how good you are. You've put that authority stamp down, and you've taken we took their soul away, really. From around about the 44th minute onwards, I felt that goal completely killed the tie. Saw a couple of people saying that they'd played really well. I don't think they'd played really well, but Leeds just hadn't turned up. for, I thought, 35, 40 minutes of that game that we started. And that is a slight worry. It's a slight worry that, if things aren't going our way a little bit, we do sort, and we've seen it this season, get dragged down a little bit to their level. But when you've got 12 wins in 13 now, you can't really complain. It's, as someone said yesterday, you got to live in the present, you got to live in the now, feel the now as well. And Leeds are just excellent at this moment in time. And I don't, to be honest, give what about the performance anymore. I don't care. I'm really not interested anymore. But normally performance lead to results. But we've got 8.5, 9 weeks left now, and Leeds have just got to get these points on the board. Last night was a cup final. Stoke was a cup final. Millwall's going to be a cup final. The beautiful thing is now you've got time for Leeds to get back fully fit, to get that resurgence back a little bit, which I think we've had. We've needed a bit of a resurgence over the last 2, 3, maybe 4 games, just in terms of overall performance. But I think what you saw last night was Leeds coming back into it a little bit. In that second half, it was really impressive. It should have been. It's like sort of earlier on in the season where you get Leeds, essentially they should have been putting 10, 11 past teams consistently every single week. And it felt like last night that was a big save from their keeper at 2-0, because I feel at 2-0 that could have gone 3, 4, 5, 6. But I felt like it could have been one of those games where if they'd have conceded again and it was immediately after our second goal and we'd have got our third, I think that would have been an absolute landslide at Hillsborough. I honestly believe we'd have got 4 or 5. So it was a big save by Beadle in net for them. But yeah, I think they were okay. I think they're okay in the first half. As I've said, they restricted us from playing, but I think annoyingly they played a bit of a compact mid-block, and we almost started getting dragged down a little bit into their game. They're playing the long balls. We then start playing the long balls. We can't play the ball on the floor on the crappy pitch. It was a horrible sort of game and atmosphere in terms of it just being, the whole Hillsborough Stadium just being there and it being, all their fans and the pitch just being out of condition. It'd been a bit of a gloomy night. And trust me, I've been there at Hillsborough on those nights when Leeds have been there, and it's not a nice place to be. And hence why they're making it into a bit of a fortress at the minute. They're able, the crappy pitch, the atmosphere's there. It's dark, it's dingy, always in Sheffield, trust me. And they're able to make it into a little bit of a battle at this moment in time, these long balls. But it's not just that. They're a high-press team. But I thought what Leeds did really, really well, and what I want to talk on when it comes to Ethan Ampadu, is Ethan, not only was he playing that midfield role, but the defensive role was just fantastic from him, and Rodon were expert again. But it's those long balls, everybody. And I hope you're getting so many people now turning around and going, if the mate had have said in the pub, Ampadu's better in centre midfield, or if you've been on some of my videos and you've maybe disagreed and then agreed at the end, you can just see what he brings in centre midfield, everybody. We saw him at Chelsea, but these balls that he plays, the long distribution. I mentioned last night that Gruev and Kamara tactically, especially Gruev, if you almost sit into a back two, especially, as I mentioned, Gruev, into a sweeper role, it enables Ampadu to go forward. And basically, it means that you're going to get their midfielder following Gruev, and it creates space for Ampadu to then distribute the ball long. And I saw that a couple of times last night, but I'm not sure that's a tactical imprint. I think that is just Ampadu taking the game by the scruff of the neck and running through the midfield and thinking, right, nobody else is doing it in centre mid, and I'm going to do it myself now. I think Gruev, I have to say this, and I don't want to harp on about it too much, but I do feel he's like almost a Bulgarian reincarnation of Adam Forshaw with fitness. And I think you do see, I think you would see a miles better player in there in Ethan Ampadu, just in sort of that 6 role, for me anyway. And when Pascal comes back, he goes straight back in. I think the gaffer knows that. He knows that he called Pascal the cornerstone. But I think if you're not looking at this team now and thinking Pascal and this team dramatically increases the side's sort of potential and ceiling, I think, I'll be honest, listen, I respect everybody's opinion, unless it's not abuse, but I think you're mental. I think you're absolutely mental. I think Ampadu gives us so much more in that midfield than Gruev does. And I think you've got to take that almost, this brilliant run we've been on, and actually look at it player for player and how good they are in their respective position. Pascal at the back gives us so much more. Him next to Rodon have already cultivated a fantastic relationship. Ampadu just in front of them with either a Kamara or an Archie in front. I think that is perfect. I think that's a proper. Not that it isn't already, but it's an elevation on what we've got right now, guaranteed. I like Gruev. He does a job. But for me, as a midfielder, it's too much of the handbrake on. It's too much of the safety. It's the closed body. You know, at the start of his sort of campaign in that midfield, it was he gets the ball and spreads it. And I never really agreed with that. I was like, does he? Are we just making up what he does now? Spreading it is exactly what Ethan Ampadu was doing last night. And Ethan Ampadu has been doing that even from centre-back, as he was doing in central midfield for the whole season, really. And what he does is he takes it upon himself to play those long, risky diagonal balls to get Leeds into 1v1 situations. And it also gets Leeds up the pitch a lot quicker and means that the opposition can't shift their unit across enough to have a 2v1 situation against Leeds. And that's where Somerville struggles. But I think the handbrake is on a little bit too much. And I'll be honest, I think Gruev sometimes with that, it impacts Kamara's play a little bit. That's just my thoughts on it. You know, I just need a little bit more bravery in those situations from Gruev a little bit. Norman says, best depth in years. I'd agree, mate. I saw a good tweet, says James today. Fair play to Rodon for headbutting Firpo to factory reset team player. Dan, I hope I've just answered that, mate. I hope I've just answered that. Gruev was pretty poor, non-existent yesterday. He had a bit more involvement in the second half, but we do miss Ampadu in midfield. Needs Strout back. Yeah, I'd agree with that, mate. I'd agree. Keep getting your comments in, everybody. Good morning, Connor, and good morning to my fellow Leeds fans. March on together. Shout out to you, Paul. Hope you're good. Morning, Connor, Leeds fan. Hello. Carvalho is probably going to put Harry Winks in the bin today. I think overtaking Leicester is realistic, especially if we keep up this ruthlessness. Oh, God, yeah. It's Hull Leicester, isn't it? Bloody hell, I forgot about that. Hi, Jan. Hi, Connor. Important victory. Now we have to give pressure to Ipswich and Leicester. You're right, mate. 100%. Keep getting your comments in the section below, everybody. Really appreciate that. No, Andy, I'm not picking negativity. Fucking hell. Mind my language. I'm not picking negativity at all, mate. I'm saying the squad has got such potential. There's no negativity here, Andy. Andy, come on. You're negative by picking out one constructive bit of criticism I have and deeming it as negative. It's not negative. Come on, mate. Get the big boy pants on. Let's be adult about this. For the best part of 20 minutes, I've been gushing over how brilliant this team was yesterday and the prospects of Leeds going forward. One little bit of constructive criticism is allowed, mate. Look, for 35, 40 minutes and in that midfield, I feel we can be greater. Andy, we've got greater parts in this division right now. We've got that in our arsenal, our weaponry. We've got enough to be able to replace certain players. We don't have to buy players in. We don't have to get rid of players. I'm just saying right now, from my perspective, Ampadu in the midfield is that level above. That's what I'm talking about. And that was illustrated by him playing defence, midfield, striker at points yesterday when he was driving through. Ethan Ampadu is the king of Leeds at this moment in time. He is the Don. He's the future captain. He is the man. And for me, in midfield is his best position. That's all I'm saying, Andy. Come on. We can have constructive criticism on the channel as well. Of course we can. It's not negativity. Come on. Cardiff v Ipswich today. Yeah, shout out, mate. Yes, the boy. Samson, hiya, mate. Hope you're all good. Find myself looking at Leicester and Ipswich fixtures more than ours. I agree with you, mate. Morning, Tony. How you doing, buddy? But yeah, listen, really good performance yesterday. In that second half, I would say we came to the party, really. First half wasn't great. Second half was much better. And now the lads have got a big break. And it's mental out. You're probably not going to get now. I thought last night was going to be sort of indicative of maybe the change in personnel. I thought you might see Roberts come in at right back. And then I thought if Archie moves into that midfield, that's going to be a bit of a constant now till the end of the season. That didn't happen, which is really, really interesting. Now maybe you're going to see Archie remain at right back for the full remainder of the season. You know, I thought Archie was good last night, I have to say. Grew into it in the second half as well a little bit, but I don't think at right back you lose that much between him and Connor Roberts from what I've seen from Connor Roberts. But I do wonder now what Roberts' involvement is, you know. I wonder, because last night I thought it was the perfect moment. He got into the team at Stoke. We kept a clean sheet. Roberts had a spotlight social media thing on him. He was arguably the best Leeds player on the night against Stoke, and then against Sheffield Wednesday, he's sort of he's left out, isn't he? And that's interesting. You can apply it to Dan James a little bit more, but you can probably see Dan James and Nonto rotating a little bit more. Roberts is, I don't know if he gets in anymore. Maybe now he's just a super sub till the end of the season. Let me know what you think, everybody, on Connor Roberts. Interesting. Definitely needs to rest after a punishing last month or so with travelling. Big game against Millwall. They're in good form at the minute. You can tell Sheffield Wednesday what miss was Pervader. Yeah, they did look to miss him a little bit. He's been really good for them, hasn't he? Been really decent. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section below, everybody. The tempo we play at is all wrong. We're as bad as Sheffield Wednesday prior to Bamford's goal. Yeah, harsh criticism from NFT. Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't think we were good, and that we need to talk about that. I'm not just going to alienate some of that patch with, obviously we have to discuss the whole performance, and this is a match analysis. It's not a season analysis as such. And yeah, you're right. That first 35, 40 minutes wasn't good enough, but they came through it. NFT, they came through it, and for 55, 60 minutes, you've got to say, especially in that second half, they got nowhere near us, and they have got 4 wins on the bounce. Of course they have. And that's got to be taken into consideration. 5 wins in 6. So it's one of the informed teams in the Championship. We've not conceded the goal. They're good, very good at home. And as I keep mentioning, we took the soul away really in the second half. So you've got to look at it like that as well. Obi-Wan in the building says Roberts has to start. Archie's our best midfielder behind Ampadu. Needs to be playing there when Pascal is fit. Interesting, yeah. Time to give Archie a little run in the midfield. The area's become stale and we have a proper right back. I like Roberts. I think he will be good for us when we get back into the Prem. Looks like Roberts coming on and playing wherever he wants, like an extra winger. Haven't seen such a strong defence since Radaby and Woody. It's class, not used to it. Kamara could do with a break, says Paul. I said to the lads in the pub last night that Strout comes straight back in. Ampadu who's better midfield. They all thought I was mental. No, JBL. They're not. They're mental, mate. They're mental. All Leeds, aren't we? Yeah, shout out Pablo. I'm actually glad for the international break. It gives the players a rest. It does, mate. And we need a rest right now, don't we? I need a rest. You need a rest. I think Leeds need a rest. And it feels like that's the perfect, plan now for Leeds to have that little bit of time off. Would you sign Roberts? I would. Yeah, I would. For a decent price, I think in the Premier League, he's a really good option. I don't know how we do it in terms of Archie. You feel like if Archie's not been bedded in central midfield now, is he going to be bedded in the midfield? The plan with Archie Gray, if we were to get back to the Premier League, is crazy. It's going to be mental to see what Leeds do with him, because I don't really understand what they're going to do with him. Where positionally are we going to put him? Is he going to fit here? Is he going to fit there? I don't know. But yeah, the Roberts signing you feel would be based on Roberts, I don't think is going to come to Leeds to sit on the bench in the Premier League. So that's exactly what he's been doing with Burnley. Come in the building, a member of the channel. Shout out to you, mate. Said it all season. We are going to win the Championship. Yeah. Don't forget to hit the likes and subscribe to the best YouTube channel. Thank you, Paul. Guys, it'd be really good if you could just like the video. There's over 700 of you in the building now. If you could just like the video, all of you, 700 likes would be amazing. 650 likes would be amazing. It's free. Just hit that thumbs up button, and it's just great for me as well. It just helps massively for me to carry on doing this. So thank you so much. Furbo, questionable defender, but he put the ball in for Bamford's goal. Yeah, I think he's got more assists than anybody in 2024. Furbo, so that's it. We know what he's good at, and we know he can do it at this level. But we don't want to focus on it too much. But the Premier League, listen, I like Firpo, but the boy gets ripped apart. He does. But at this level, he gets caught out of position, but because of the quality we're coming up against, it's not too bad, and he gets out of it a little bit. But yeah, let's not make this a long-term thinking for me. But yeah, he's done well in terms of going forward. I think we all know that. Done the light for you, British Gaming, living the dream. Thank you so much, my friend. Fortunately, Wales and Finland have just one game to play against each other. Yep, it is going to be Glenn Kamara versus the gang. Rodon, James, Roberts, all the likely lads. So who plays alongside Ampadu in midfield when Strauss at CB? A great headache for Farke. Yeah, 100%, Dave. You bang on the money. It is going to be a good headache for Farke to have. I would always be looking at that Chelsea partnership in Archie and Ampadu, but I also understand the value of Glenn Kamara. I really do. And maybe without a Gruev there, you see a little bit, and this isn't any disrespect to Gruev, it's not whatsoever. But maybe you see a little bit more sort of expression with Kamara. I don't know. I don't know if the balance is going to be a little bit better. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, long term, I think it's going to be fascinating to see how this one works out for me. But listen, it's a great headache to have. This is what we have to say throughout the season. There's Leeds fans who fall out over Ampadu and JBL was probably going on about it there, about his mates at the pub. Ampadu and Strout. There's Leeds fans who fall out about James and Nonto. There's Leeds fans who fall out about Joseph and Bamford. There's Leeds fans who fall out about Kamara or Archie. Melee or Klaassen earlier on in the season. Why are we falling out over it? Why are people falling? It's a great problem to have. It's a good problem to have. Imagine if you're not having any problems whatsoever. With that depth ridden at the minute, that Jaden Anthony, who I really hope is mentally is at a good space, and he's not going to be at a good space. I believe he says he's out for personal and private reasons. I just want to give a shout out to Jaden, because in the Chelsea game, he was absolutely excellent 2 assists, and was really influential in that game. Should have got another assist as well. He's not been part of proceedings because of private/personal reasons. I think we need to give a shout out to Jaden, because I think when he's come in this season, he's been really underrated. He's been really good. He's not been given a massive chance. He's not moaned. Nothing's happened with him in terms of like attitude or anything like that. And he's gone through one of the most traumatic experiences any individual is going to go through in their lives, which is losing his mother. And it's at a young age. It's at a really, really young age. And you've seen him dotting out of the squad for private reasons. And I think there just needs to be a big, you never know. Some of the, I know for a fact that some Leeds players I've dotted on my videos before. I've had messages about that before. So I don't know if Jaden is watching this. Shout out to you, my man. I hope you get back to a good mental state. It must be horrendous, and I just think he is part of this squad. And the reason I mentioned Jaden is because he's another option. In when you got Somerville in there, you've also got Jaden Anthony, 2 assists against Chelsea. I just think because he's part of this collective, he's part of this squad, we need to speak on him as well. And let's hope that he gets back. And I hope that he's part of the squad for the running at the end of the season, because not only does he seem like a great lad, but he's got really good ability at this level as well. British Gaming, Living the Dream has become a YouTube member. Shout out to you, my friend, and shout out to JBL as well. Become a YouTube member. Do we think Perot will be better in the Prem, as it's not as fast paced as the Championship? Dan, you've got it the wrong way around, mate. No, personally, no. I don't think Perot will work in the Premier League, but that's just my option. I think he's he's just a little bit too. I just don't think he's got the athleticism, the physicality. I'm not going to write him off, because I've written players off before and they've come back and done really, really well. So I'm not going to write him off. But personally, if you're asking me right here, right now, based on what I've seen, is he going to be able to deal with the Premier League? Not really. Positionally, I think he can be good. I think his awareness is poor, though. Looking over the shoulder when he gets the ball in that pocket, he get robbed by top defensive midfielders. I think he's just too slow. But good question. I see what Kamara brings, but I would definitely be picking Archie over him at the minute. Need someone taking chances from the edge outside of the box like Dallas used to, and Kamara just went. Yeah, Dallas is a really good comparison there, mate, because we all know, Dallas wasn't the most technical player, but he'd shoot, and he'd get himself goals in that number 8 position, especially in the Premier League. And it would be nice to see Kamara pull the trigger a little bit more, because technically he's a better player than Dallas. Dallas is in our hearts for being a warrior, for being one of the most perfect Leeds United players ever, and we all love him to death. But Kamara's a better technical footballer than Stuart Dallas, and Dallas is a really good one to bring up there, because Dallas used to just get the ball, make the most of his ability, and have a shot on goal. And invariably in the Premier League, some of them would go in, but he'd score goals as well, big goals for Leeds United, huge goals. Look at Derby in the semis, playoff semis, where he was the best player on the pitch from left back. But he'd get goals, and we need more goals from centre midfield. There's no doubt about that, because even at points last night, it seems to be the huge focus on Rutter and Somerville. And if that's taken out a little bit, if that's doubled down, if the team gets into a low to mid block like Huddersfield did, like Stoke did for bits, we don't really have another option, and a midfielder definitely aids that for me. Yeah, Andy, you bang on the money, mate. Leeds have been economical with suspension and long-term injuries. I agree. Is there a certain player you'd love Leeds to sign next season? Yes. Joe Rodon. That'd be nice. But guys, if you have just joined, there's loads of you in the building right now. Shout out. To all of you guys who've been here and you've been watching through this. Make sure you download SofaScore for a comprehensive view on last night. Some really good analysis over there. Make sure you're liking the video. We're going to be heading on over to the Patreon to do a little bit of a player ratings video, everybody. Gabe's got a bit of a comprehensive review over there now as well. Make sure you check that out if you want to head on over to the Patreon. Links in the description below. If you want to become a YouTube member, you can do so by pressing join. If you want to donate to the channel, there's a thanks button below. I really appreciate any sort of support on the channel, everybody. It means the world of difference for myself. But yeah, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, everybody. Watch it from the start if you haven't. Make sure you check out all the stuff from last night, and I'll see you on the other side. Cheers.